From dating to relationships, from sex to love, from Christianity to politics, from darkness to light, you have now entered into the real zone. Welcome to Conversations with Trent, where no topic of conversation is safe from discussion. Now, here he is, Mr. Epic himself, Trent Williams.
What's going on? What's going on? What's going on, beautiful people? Welcome to a special edition of Conversation with Trent and Friends. We got a special guest in here today. We wanted to do the podcast earlier and in the morning because I actually have a special guest. Holistic coach Catherine Getu, nutrition coach, holistic coach Catherine Getu from France. So I want to give the opportunity to East Africa and Europe viewers to actually view us live. So let's bring the ladies in and let's get this thing started. We're talking about part 2 of the Poly series that we had. One sec. Hey.
Hey there.
Hello.
How's it going? Let me first of all, let me thank you guys. First of all, D and Ursula's pulling up the rear. For getting up early in the morning to accommodate the viewers and Catherine over in France right now. So, Coach D, you already know what it is with you and I. I really appreciate that. I know it's early morning, so I got the best friends anybody could ask for.
Well, it just seemed unfair that we would ask one of 4 of us to get up early or stay out late when we could easily adjust our time to meet hers.
Right. So, Coach D, this is Catherine. Catherine, that's Coach D. That's holistic coach, nutrition coach that I actually podcast twice a month with from France. Let's see, Ursula's looking for the link here. One sec. So we're talking about the Polyamorous show we did, part 2, and Catherine had a couple of things she wanted to add to that, which I found very surprising. So, Coach D, take it away real quick. Let me send this link to Urs.
What, that polyamory doesn't always have to include sex?
Yeah. Wait, what'd you say?
It doesn't always include sex. I said, here's the thing. In America, everything revolves around sex. No matter what it is, it revolves around sex for some odd reason. Because they're so tyrannical that if you do anything outside the heteronormative thing, there's something wrong with you.
Right.
So, I tell people, if you want to be, as long as you're adults and you're consenting and you're respecting each other's boundaries, be you, do you. That's
Absolutely.
fine. Right?
Absolutely. So, Catherine, we're actually prepping for the nutrition show, and she mentioned the podcast, and I was quite surprised what she was saying. Kathy, you want to share your experience with the poly type arrangement in Africa?
Good morning. I think it's morning to you, please, and good afternoon, wherever everyone is switching on from. I am just getting in a conversation that I understand has been taking time. So this is part 2. And the only part that I got interested on it was that polygamy part. And in Africa...
Go ahead, continue.
Okay, in Africa, polygamy doesn't necessarily mean the way how other people outside maybe I would say in general, outside the world, outside Africa, the way they might perceive that. Polygamy was accepted in Africa way before the Christianity came in because it was part of their way of living. And how people lived is like my grandfather from my father's side had 2 or 3 wives. And I grew up also with people who had several, I have cousins, distant cousins who are from their father had because of disease, had 3 wives. And these people live together like normal families. There is nothing wrong about it, because there are reasons in the culture that made people accept polygamy. We can't hear you.
I'm sorry, my apologies. I mashed the mute button for Kobe making a noise, but I find that kind of surprising. Ursula, that's Catherine. Catherine, that's Ursula.
Hi, good
Hi,
morning,
hi.
Catherine. Hi, Dee. I'm sorry, y'all. I had to get some coffee. I'm sorry.
All good. So, let me start this off again, and thank you guys for doing this. I mean, it's like early. Normally, we're actually recording and broadcasting at 7 p.m. on a Sunday, and I mentioned to them that Catherine wanted to join the conversation during our prep work for our nutrition show. So I really appreciate you guys. It means a lot to me. I got the best friends. So good stuff, man. Real good stuff. But I find it surprising because all my life, you know, when you think about multiple women, it's always been a taboo here in the States. It's always been a stigma. Always been, oh my God, wait a minute. That's always been based around sex. But after speaking with Catherine, I was like, wow, it's a little different. And when she explained to me that in her country, over in Kenya, they did it for multiple reasons to move the family forward. It depends on how much land you have. If you have a ton of land, a whole bunch of land, you gotta have a lot of people to work that land. And to me, that's progression, moving the family forward. But I never heard that before. I was so surprised by that.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
No,
Well,
I'm listening.
Yeah, the fact that today in today's society there is a lot of financially seen through the currency of money, while in Africa, in other indigenous, I also understand that was also the same thing before in America. The indigenous people in America had polygamy. It's
Right.
The arrival of Spanish that really killed or tried to remove the polygamy. The more children a man had, the more richer he was in a certain time in Africa. Because also we look Africa, it's a big land. And
Right.
so the big land you have, the more wealth you are. And knowing that at that time there was no, I'm going to the grocery store and buy my food for my family, so you have to feed yourself. So that means that you have to cultivate. And to cultivate, you have to have a lot of labor. And that labor is not your pain, but you have the children or the women, women who are going to cultivate that land, and so that you can have food to nourish and sustain you. We forget also that Africa used to go until today goes through a lot of droughts and famine, which means that even if we are cultivating food is not regular. It's not like you go to America from January to December, you're constantly having abundance of food. So the more you have people, labor to cultivate food during the seasons when it's raining, you have a lot of food to sustain you during the drought.
Right.
So we don't, and I'm very far to really comprehend African history, but it wasn't about sexual desires. We're not talking about the concubine like Solomon used to have before even Christianity came up.
Right.
Here we are talking about children, women giving birth to children who are going to sustain this. There is also the part of infertility. Today, if a man marries or gets into a relationship with a woman can't give kids, what do? You quit. I'm going to get another woman. In African society, that woman is respected. She can't give birth, but you're not going to throw her away. She is the one who is to ask the man, I can't give you kids. Please, can you get another woman so that you can have kids. There is one thing that we should know, that the Africans, for example, for me, I'm named after my grandparent, and so it goes. So the African people had always that, not all, I guess it's not everywhere in Africa, but we have this lineage, like lasting forever. Like my name is going to be this
Yeah, lineage. Yeah.
agent,
Yeah, I
like
know
it's
exactly
going
what you're
to be
saying.
for generations and generations. And so the woman who can't give birth will look for a woman so that the man can have children, and such that that man can have that lineage, because we are always according or aligning ourselves with man. We don't become property. But somehow I wasn't married in Africa, so I'll not talk about in behalf of women. But I believe it's not it's not just being a property, but because we are together in this.
Right. Coach D,
And
what's
also,
your thoughts on that?
sorry, yeah.
Coach D?
Allow the woman to. I'm waiting for her information, sir, because it's a very
Yeah.
different system.
Okay, go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah, we're not.
That's-
Don't direct. Not cool.
Stop.
I didn't get it.
Continue, Catherine.
I didn't understand.
Continue.
Okay, and there is also that in some parts of Africa, that old age, the woman couldn't have sexual intercourse once she gets to menopause. And so the man will not stop having sexual relationship just because the woman stops having, is getting into menopause. So the woman will get another woman for that activity, as well as giving childbearing. Um, that the other great part I know is the slavery. After the slavery trade. I talked to you, Trent. There were two different slaveries that took part in Africa, and really took a lot of people out of Africa. And this is the Atlantic. This is slaves coming from Africa to go to America, and slaves coming from Africa to go to Muslims' country, Arabian countries. That is, these are Muslim Arabs really taking women, young women especially, to be, because Islam was becoming expansionist, so they were taking women as concubines. And so they take people of age of producing, and women, Africans left with less people. And I think somehow this also encouraged people to have polygamous, to have a lot of women so that they can bear, because of, as men leave to go for the cultivations in Atlantic, we are less having people to cultivate or to produce in Africa. So it could have raised the polygamy as well.
Right. Now let me ask you a question, Catherine.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm misunderstanding this, but so having multiple wives started in Africa, and the Muslim countries, once they started taking the young women from Africa, started concubines.
The slavery trade that was participated by Arabs from Africa was necessarily for women, young women, who were taken to the Middle East, and they were just being concubines, but they were integrated into the family. So the kids who were born out of that concubine became part of the family.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But I'm not saying that really led to the polygamous. Polygamous was there before, but I think it also enhanced that need of bringing up people, because there was a time the population of Africa really decreased largely with the two slavery trades going on.
Gotcha. D?
So I don't know why you keep calling my name. But here's the thing. That's the American equivalent of that is families who have 10, 15, 20 children for the same reason. Only because they have the children to cultivate the land, because having multiple wives is not looked upon as being something that we do. Because when we came to America, dragged over, we lost a lot of our traditional things that we do. Like a lot of the things that were grown by slaves are not native to America.
Right.
Right? Watermelon is not native to America. Okra is not native to America. Right? Rice that we were grown in the South, not native to America.
Absolutely.
So they took farmers. Like I always try to tell people, is they didn't take slaves. They took people and enslaved them, because all of the people that came across had knowledge.
Exactly.
Like nothing in America was taught to them. They already knew how to farm. They already knew how to cultivate. They already knew how to weave and grow and do beatery and all this stuff. So we tend to have a superiority complex about we're better than everybody else, but we forget why things happen the way they happen and the history behind why things need to happen a certain way. If you take a whole generation of farmers, you have to adapt in some way. So when people look down upon them, I'm like, why you look down upon this happened, this happened, this happened, this is why this happened. Right? You need to be able to still create your land so that people can still eat.
Right. Now you're saying why I continue to call your name, that's why. You have information.
No, but it's annoying though, sir. It's very annoying.
No, it is, but you know,
because I'm listening to what Catherine has to say and sharing her information, because most of us have very little knowledge of the continent of Africa. How many people know how many countries are on the continent, for one? Our maps don't even show it in its proper size. Right? If you look at the average map of Africa versus the map that Xavier has in his room, Africa is not in proportion to what it actually is.
Absolutely.
Right?
You're right about that, but
so I'm just sitting here listening to Catherine share information that I don't have access to. So I'm just being a quiet little student right now.
Okay, gotcha. Urs?
And let me say, I like that the facts they say that they didn't bring slavery. They brought people who had knowledge. The only slavery is the slave word. It's just because they didn't come out of their will. They were sold. And that's true. These people, they had their own knowledge. It's not that like they went there and they were told this is how you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And that's really important for people to know, for sure.
Exactly. Urs, your thoughts on what Catherine shared with us?
I'm sorry.
Your thoughts on what Catherine's sharing?
Oh yeah, actually, I have quite a few questions that I wanted to ask. So first, good morning, everybody. Nice to meet you, Miss Catherine, and thank you for mentioning to Trent that we should do it again, do the topic again, and that you wanted to come on, because I remember when we initially started discussing it, I said I think that Americans think of polygamy in a low nature way, and I just remember at another point discussing this with someone else. I don't even remember where in life, but it was used for cultivating land. My question is, how did the women who were a part of this feel about being in polygamy? And were there ever any women that maybe rebelled and didn't like it? Or were there inferiority amongst the women? And maybe sometimes, I hate to use this term, it's really kind of cliche and getting old. Were there ever any women that was jealous of another woman that you think or know of or whatever? And actually, how close to this whole thing were you that you have the knowledge that you have?
Okay.
Catherine, before you answer that, let's say hi to the folks. We got a couple of folks in the thread's going to get kind of full here.
Thank you.
One sec.
Flash says, Grand Rising Melanie, people of reading Princess Coach D, Urs, Catherine, and Mr. Epic. Okay.
Thank you.
Good morning. Says, good morning.
Morning.
Nina says, I love Dr. D. I'm not a doctor. Just kidding. Mark.
Good morning, Dr. Mr. L.
And Mark is Googling as usual. So.
Mark.
Good morning.
Good morning, y'all. Good morning, good people.
Good stuff. Okay, Catherine.
Okay. I will state that I'm not an expert in this, but I'll give my own perspective and the way, no perspective, but perception, and how I live depends. The homes and people that I saw living in this kind of polygamy, there is no jealous because there is hierarchy. The hierarchy is there is older woman who was married first. She got her kids, and then there is another one, and then there is another one, and so it goes. So these who are coming, they have the respect of the first woman. Second, they all have the same distribution of things. Like these cousins, distant cousins that I had, their mother had a home. The first wife had a home, and the second wife had a home. Then they are from the last woman. And then there is a big place, a big building, like a salon, where this is where the man lives. This is where he stays. Like he never goes to the other women. He doesn't go to that kitchen to eat from there. This is woman A is weak to bring food to the woman. Woman's B weak to bring food to the woman. And woman C. You see? And so if there is any discussion, everyone will come to the man's sitting room. That's where they're going to have big discussions. The only thing I think, and that was like I was thinking about it, would be like the only thing they don't have here, and I don't think they miss a lot because there are people who are born in monogamy parents and they don't have access to the dad because there are so many kids, they don't have that access to the dad because, you know, the only time you have, it's like every other kid is coming. But there is no such like, I'm jealous. Maybe today, because the Christianity has come in and there are some people who want to sustain their polygamy kind of life and financially and all that kind comes in. Maybe today there are people who can say, okay, I'm not okay with you marrying another woman. But at that time, it wasn't like that. And even if you look like me, okay, I saw this from the pictures. It's like we talk about small huts, and in some places we call that like a boma, like a small village where you have a lot of small huts or houses, and each woman has a house, and then there is that place where the man is found. And if it's time for like having sex, there is a week and period for each woman to go and have that relationship with the wife, with the husband.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Very, very interesting. Oh my God. I have more questions. So the children, hold on a second. Hold on, y'all, because my laptop said something.
Francis is not on the screen.
So if I understood what you said, the women bring the food to the man.
Yeah.
And the children don't always have access to their dad.
That's what I would say, because there is no time like if we look at the monogamy, it's like the family, what do we call the nuclear family is the wife, the man, and the children in the same place. Whereas in this polygamy stuff, it's like you are with your kids, the other woman is with her kids, and the other woman is with the kids. The father is not always there. That doesn't mean they don't have access to him, like they can't talk to him and all that kind of stuff. I'm just saying they are not 100%.
No.
Yeah.
I understand.
Like,
I wanted to
go on.
I wanted to just share with you. You said this is the knowledge that you have about the topic. When I asked the questions, you responded, and you said this is just. I'm no expert. So let me just tell you this: in this conversation today, you are the expert because you're the closest to it, and that's why it's nothing like somebody who could actually give the full account of how this look. Because we here in Africans that was brought to however this is to America, however we want to spin that story or whatever, spin the narrative, we were not so much as stripped, but I guess in some sense stripped of who we are. Now, I learned during African studies early on, and I said if I ever had time in life or when I get older, I wanted to really dive deep into who we are, because I learned during African studies just another little, why we dance and how we celebrate. Because I'm like, I don't see other cultures celebrate the way African people celebrate, right? Especially African Americans. And after study, I learned that it was our tradition before we even, so it's in you. It's just in you. And that's why we celebrate and do some of the things we do. So even you talking about the polygamy thing, I think in a sense, Americans are in a Western society, we unpack that differently, but it's really in our nature. And so we know that in Western society, it is considered illegal to have multiple wives. You can only have one wife here in America. So, it's illegal, but it's, but it's in us. It's in us to, it's just in us. And so we don't even know where it comes from. Especially the male anatomy, they can't even identify with it because what we were told that it's not right and whatever. And I'm not trying to give anybody a pass for it, because we are here. I would always argue with these two guys that I told y'all about when we initially did the show. I feel like I kind of took over the conversation, but I'm gonna keep going. That they would be like, "Urs, you got this all wrong. You're thinking about it in a low nature." And I said, I know I need to do some more studying or whatever. And I did kind of study a little bit, but I still was like, well, that's African. And now we're here in America. But let's be real clear that even though we are here in America, a lot of who we are is still in us. You know what I'm saying? You cannot yes, and going back to what the example I use with the dance, because I would be like, I've gone to people out that's not, African parties or whatever, and I'm like, they're not dancing or nothing. Like, what's going on? Like, and so I just really began to even more wanted to unpack what being an African look like, and what is our culture, like, why do we sit around, eat and drink and dance or whatever? And then you go back to these old stories that we were told long time ago about kings and stuff and celebrating and all of that. So, and I know that's our tradition. So, but we don't even know, because we were stripped of, not so much as stripped, but we were assimilated into the Western society, and we were chained, in some sense we were chained. And it's one thing to have a person in chains, but it's a totally different thing when you have their mind chained and you tell them this is the way instead of the way that you do things, and if you do it the way to do it, or culturally how what's in you, you can be punished for it. So it's just good to know that some of the stuff that people do isn't because they just want to do it.
Exactly. To piggyback on that,
I'm sorry.
I've been knowing Catherine. Catherine and I have been friends for a number of years, about 10, 15 years of friendship here. And from the moment we met, I learned from her. And I realized that, wow, we've really been watered down. Through our conversations over the years on a variety of topics, I was like, wow, we were really watered down. And I would always tell her, you are so fortunate. You are so blessed. And I guess she would always wonder, like, well, why are you saying that? Because you have the knowledge. You have the knowledge that I thirst for.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, you're so
even through nutrition, even before this incident, Catherine would give me pointers on stuff to eat, stuff to consume, and everything, right? All that stuff that I didn't know at that age, at this age. I had no knowledge of it. I felt like I was walking through life with rose-colored glasses on, not knowing what was going on. I was like, wow.
That's from colonialization and the indoctrination of Christianity.
There you go.
Exactly. Exactly, exactly. And actually, I laugh at you I laugh when you say that, because when we look at the Africa today, we are talking about 2024, they like goes the other way around. Instead of
Right.
standing strong and saying this is who we are, they try to change and accommodate what is coming from outside.
Mhm.
And I think we are losing slowly and slowly this African cultural way of living. I'll not lie to you, like when you say like, oh, this is the way African used to do dancing and things around the king. Okay, by the time I was born, there were no kings. But I didn't grow up in a place where people were dancing and celebrating. Why that? Because I come in the world when the white man has come, has dismantled everything. The people who you come from are
Mm-hmm.
people who went, but there are those who were left.
Mhm.
And those who were left who are also just like those who left, those who stayed are also like those who left, because everything was like you do it the white man way, the Bible way. So a lot of people left their culture. I discovered the
Wow.
African or my cultural dances. I discovered them in high school because we could do competitions, and so we could work on that. But it's not like you're not going to go into Africa, or like, let me talk to about Kenya, or maybe not even Kenya, because in Kenya we have 45 tribes and they have their own way and cultural ways of doing things. But it means like it's very rare that you go to places today and you find people doing things the way they did before the Christianity or before the white man came in.
Exactly. Let's get Coach D in because she's a specialist on
Wow.
this Christianity. Let's
But
get to the questions real
Was
quick and get Coach D.
just a little sentence I wanted to say is, um, the way that we can say that we come and we have this polygamy thing since the ancient ages. I don't want it to be confused with men and women who would go cheating around just
Right.
because it's in the vein. There is something there is difference between having sexual desires and have different women for exploiting that part of you, and there is a totally different thing being in polygamy and having a family need and all that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
I,
Exactly.
and I want to be clear and say that I don't think it's a good idea to go cheating around. But what I will say is that you have in different situations, and we talked about that in the last show, you have in different situations where someone may desire a husband in the American culture, but may not can give him children. You have where somebody desires a husband, but don't always feel like cooking for him or being a wife all of the time. Like,
Yeah.
and so I'm not saying it's okay to go cheating around for the man or the woman, but again, in Western society, and this is how watered down look. You have to understand, like, we don't have to understand anything, but it's the idea that okay, and everybody think like that. Like it's just the human is in us, and it like even amongst not even humans, it's animals, it's the same way. Okay, I'll go here, and if this doesn't work out, I'll go there. Animals do it too. So it's not
Right.
even about cheating around. And it's the male animal that have the female animals or whatever that um y'all get the drift, and I'm sure we're all pretty much at 58, so I'm sure y'all heard the story about when the lion is the king of the jungle, and so
Right.
he have like multiple lioness. So it's not just a human thing. It's it's animals. It's an animal thing too. So I don't even think it's about going cheating around more than it's about um if you have a need and it doesn't get met, then it's almost like, okay, I'm going to the store. They don't have eggs. I have to go to another store and get eggs. And I also think that it's not exercised as much in women because women are more of a we are more of
Careful.
nurturers. I'm no
I
nurturers
knew
in
you
some
were gonna
sense.
say
I'm
that.
I don't want to tick me off, but women are nurturers. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
this is
We're
a
not
whole. We
caregivers. We're
we're
more into.
Let's get to the comments real
yes.
quick because I
And,
don't want to lose those folks.
wait, wait, and so wait. Before we get to the comments, and because women are nurturers, and a lot of us. Quite a few of us don't mind being procreative or whatever. We have that nurturing spirit that's in us. And so we look for that in all relationships in some sense, the nurturing part of us. That's just who we are. And
No,
so
we're not.
women are less
No.
likely to want to have, some women are less likely to want to have multiple relationships or be in a polygamy situation, but men aren't. Men are like, they go to war and everything. And I really want to say something else. I know we're gonna get to the comments, but I think we really, all of us need to really dial into this, because I think a lot of times it brings up other things about why a man don't feel like a man, because they are being watered down, because they do feel like, I'm not ready to settle. I want to,
Girl. No.
okay.
Here's
Wait.
the thing.
Okay.
In the world, we're all species. Humans like to think we're above everything.
Yeah.
In the world, the only species where the male doesn't take care of their children, where their children are raised by the mother, is humans, because we have no expectations of men to raise their children because of colonialism. Prior to colonialism in Africa, we had matriarchal societies where the men were more parenting than the women were. Right? This is historical. Here, since colonialism and the Victorian ages and the white man, it's switched,
Right.
where men were no longer expected because somehow men are not nurturing. Have you ever looked at the animal kingdom? The lion is not the king of the jungle. The lionesses are. The lionesses do the hunting. The lions actually take care of their children as well as the lionesses do. In the animal kingdom, have you looked at male eagles? One of the most supposedly the biggest creatures that people like to hold up in the United States because we're proud. The eagle. Male eagles take care of their babies. Right? Penguins. Male penguins take care of their children. If you look at elephant society, all the elephants take care of their children. Right? Humans have become this thing where only women are nurturers. Somehow men have not discovered how to nurture. And we uphold this sexist ideology from the patriarchy from Europeans that men can't do anything when it comes to kids. Like, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous notion, because then we will turn around and say men can't take care of the kids, but if man is not involved, then there's issues. So either they can or they can't, right? We have to have, if they're not taking care of their children, then we have father wounds and we have all kinds of issues. But then we turn around and go, oh, well, men aren't nurturers. They can't take care of the babies. I'm like, it's BS. It's a patriarchy that puts women on a lower standard. That's like the same thing that men think with logic and women think with emotion. Right, Mark? Because that's what he posted on the
Women
page.
do kind of think that.
D is too early to be throwing shade.
Listen, women, here's the thing that psychologists love. Women think in multitask. They think long term. Men think short term. That's why we have wars, because they don't think long term. Right?
I agree with that. I agree with
We're
that.
always dismissing women as being weak. Women are not weak. Right? Women are strong.
Let me tell you, I don't want to get into a debate at all ever on this show, but I agree with you. Women, we are nurturers. We are nurturers, but that nurture don't mean weak. Sometimes nurture mean you are stronger than the people you nurture. Right. So I think sometimes we got to really understand what the words, not you, D. I'm just saying people need to understand, because I don't think women weak at all. I really don't. I actually think we're a lot stronger than we get credit for. And because I think it's confused, because men have muscles that they strong. But muscle don't mean you mentally strong. Muscles mean you possibly can change a flat. Because I can't roll a tire and all of that.
Let's get
Let
these
me read
comments
the
real quick.
comments. Let me read the comments. So Mark said it's really like the United. Well, am I starting off right?
Oh, no,
Okay,
no,
yes.
here you go.
Mark said it's really like the United. Oh, he said it's really like the United Nations on his screen this morning. One of my coworkers was in a poly relationship with someone from the neighborhood. She broke it down for me and gave me the ins and outs. Then he says about when I was talking at 10:30. I don't know what I said, but he said, "Not true, Earth. The man-made religion. Mormons have multiple wives and it goes down without a hitch because they're respected paperwork and tax filers." And he said, "Wink, wink." Okay, then he said, "What up, DJ Al?" And he said it's called a pride. When I said, the men have the over all of the women, it's called a pride. It seems it's all part of self-preservation. The first law of nature is nothing new. It's from the ancient oral tradition.
Thoughts, Catherine? What's your thoughts, Catherine?
About what?
So D.
There are a lot of things that you guys said, and okay, I'll go back to the animals in the field, and I'll say the lion is the king just because it roars. It's not because it takes care of the young ones. It's not because it hunts. It's just because it roars louder than the others. Because there is also this.
I don't understand.
It's also, sorry. Someone said, "Did you understand?"
See, I didn't understand it. I didn't understand that last part. The lion.
The lion is not the king of the jungle because it takes care of the family, but rather because it roars, it makes a loud noise than the others. Because when you look at it, the lion is the first that the lion eats its kids because it doesn't want to have kids males who can take over when they grow up. So when the lioness gives birth, it takes away the kids to hide them from the lion. Second, when the two lions or three lions can meet together and make a clan, and they are the ones to choose which lion is going to come in to mate with them. So lions don't necessarily go and just mate with anyone they want. It's the women, it's the ladies who chooses because they take care of the kids.
Yeah. Okay. I saw a video maybe last week with that, what you're just saying. A video showing that where the lion was killing the male baby.
Yeah. But they can't choose which one is the male. So once the babies are born, the lioness has to take them away from the lion.
Take them away, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And they're also like in the nature. We looked at the nature. There's penguins, dads who take care of them, of the egg when the mom goes into the ocean to feed herself, so that when the mother comes back, she can take care of the kid. These are things, the rules of the nature. They are birds that stay together for the lifetime. They are monogamous birds. They meet and they stay for the rest of their lives. So the other part that I heard was like men are not. Women. We do nature, but men don't have this capacity of nurturing kids. But I think it's more than that. It goes back to how men are raised. In most places in Africa where women are taking care of the cuisine and all that, where the man is chased out of the cooking area from the kitchen. So it's like, don't be here. I've met men in their 40s, 50s, they can't fix a cup of coffee or even cook an egg. And when I ask them, what is it that you don't know how to cook? It's like, I was raised up in a house where there were a lot of women, and every time I could go there, I would be chased out. And men, their father would tell them, this is not your place. And I remember my dad used to tell my son, my brother, what are you doing in the kitchen? That's not your place. So the men have grown knowing kitchen is not their place to be. And so when they go to settle down with women accept them to come to the kitchen and cook, but they don't have that qualifications, or they don't know how to do it, not because they don't want to, but because they haven't given that time. And I'm not talking about all men, I'm talking in some parts of Africa or in some parts of culture, men don't go to cuisine to cook, they don't go to the kitchen because that place is women. Because if you go back to prehistory, man was hunt and gatherer. So man was hunting, was going away, bringing food, and woman would cook. And so it went.
Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Coach D, look like Mark is addressing you.
Oh yeah, he's upset because I called him out on the thing he posted on the page yesterday. Ask me if my feelings are hurt.
Catherine, Coach D and Mark goes back and forth all the time.
Okay, it's all right. It's all right.
Because I don't care. And he's not even speaking in English that I can understand, so I don't know what's going on.
Oh,
He says, I have my 50-cent brand bulletproof vest on, even at the J. We don't speak in absolutes, nor do I speak for all men. But he made it sure seem like that one was speaking for all women, though, don't we?
Mm.
So, confirmation bias is a drug, sir. Be careful.
Isn't that funny? So what do you guys think about Catherine's experience on the African culture? And me personally, in my opinion, everything starts from Africa.
Well,
Just my opinion.
Africa is the motherland. What country are you from originally, Catherine?
I'm from Kenya.
Okay, perfect. Kenya is beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
I haven't had the chance to go. I have some friends from Kenya. Here's the thing. There's nothing I love more than listening to the people who have the lived experience.
Exactly.
Right? Because those people are the ones who have been there, that they know what's going on. Like, you can't learn about a dairy farm for somebody who fishes from lobster. It doesn't work. So when you listen to the people who know what's going on, who lived it, you're getting more information. You're getting a better knowledge than somebody who does not know nothing. Who wants to learn math from an art teacher?
That's true.
Doesn't work, right?
Like I said earlier, every time I speak with Catherine, we speak on a regular. I learn something every single time. I look forward to the conversations because it's so rewarding for me, because she's always telling me things that I wasn't aware of.
You have a type, sir, so not even go down that road.
Stop.
Yeah. So here's the thing.
I'm sorry if I'm surrounded by smart, beautiful women.
That's your type. There's nothing wrong with it. Everybody has a type. You just have one where knowledge is exuded upon you overwhelmingly sometimes.
There it is.
But here's what a lot of people forget. When the Puritans came to America, they brought all their nonsense with them, and they've just kept it in American society. Society, when you look at other societies, we are so puritanical still, and it's all about control. Like if you look, even you look at the elections, everything's about control. We need to control everybody. Go ahead.
Urs, you were saying something?
I wanted to hear I wasn't clear on what you said, but you're absolutely right about the control. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh no reason to be sorry. We cut each other off all the time. This is how we do. It's how conversations natural.
They always cut me off. I can't even get a word in, so they always cut me off. So.
Listen, but
I tell you what, I will tell you this. After having this conversation with Catherine, it brings about more conversations, especially about who we are as a human versus how we have been stripped of our culture. So I hope that she continues to watch the show, and I hope she feels whenever she wants to get up and do this at 10 in the morning, if we're available, we can do a schedule a 2 or a third session of the topic, especially because of this one. I knew that I said, I think that we always go to low nature with polyamorous relationships or whatever.
Right.
And traditionally, if we went back to our culture, it wasn't for what people think it's about today.
Yeah.
So, in that matter, I welcome any. I hope that you continue to watch the show, and whenever you feel like there's something you want to bring awareness to us about, that you conversate with Trent or like email and let's talk about it. And I welcome 10 a.m. again on any other topic that us Western society now people don't aren't fully aware, but because of your African and you're being closest to it, you can shed some light for us. I'm always ready to engage and willing to learn. That's why when Dee was quiet, I wasn't just settling in. I was listening too, because you get to understand just one area that I was like kind of wondering about the cultivating. So yeah, I welcome her to always listen and feel free to say, hey, let's do a part 2.
Yeah, people
of any topic.
People forget the serious disjustice that's happened to us from slavery. Like there's things that we do in every day that go back to slavery that people don't realize. Like when we laugh, we always jump and run and move somewhere, right? That goes back to slavery.
Yeah.
Because back in slavery times, if you were laughing, then you were getting beaten. And people don't realize that that's why when we start laughing, we move. We go somewhere. It's become so innate from generation to generation to generation. It's just now something we do that people have lost the reason why behind it.
That's so deep.
Wow,
that's so deep.
That's so deep.
That's deep. So deep.
Like there's so much we have lost that people don't realize. And I went to a wedding with a Nigerian in university. So I had had specially bought from Nigeria for me. Beautiful, I still have it. Beautiful blue and gold and everything like that. And she introduced me to her grandmother. And her grandmother didn't speak English, and she translated for her. And her grandmother's like, "Oh, one of the lost ones have come home." And I'm like, "Oh my God!" And I was like, and now that I got my DNA test, I'm like 15% Nigerian. So I'm like, she knew more about who we are than I did at that time. And we have lost so much. And when we have a chance to talk to somebody from the motherland, I'm just going to sit and listen. I'm going to tell you that right straight, because I just want to hear all the information that she has, because I didn't have the benefit of growing up surrounded by our traditions and our languages and our cultures and there's so much that people don't realize we've lost until you go and you see, and then it's like, wow, that's
exactly.
I
got to piggyback on that for a minute. Like Catherine and I, as you guys know, we podcast twice a month, and on nutrition and whatnot. So I've been getting tips from Catherine for a number of years on good health, right? But every time I speak to this woman, I'm like a kid in a candy store. And I'm just like Dee said, it's my type as far as people with knowledge.
Be careful.
People with knowledge. I love to be fed. Honestly, I do. I love to be fed knowledge. That goes for Dee. Stop. But I love knowledge. I love things that I didn't know. I love to learn things that I don't know. And I mean, it's a shame, to be honest with you, that here in America, we're lost as a people. We're completely lost as a people. Some of the basic things I didn't know about the soy milk, not to have the soy milk from here. I learned that from Catherine.
Because it lowers testosterone.
There you go. There you go. So it's disheartening. It's that
it was because of GMO. It was not about the phytochemicals. It was because of the GMO.
No, I have a question. I have a question.
Yeah.
Because I firmly believe that we should eat foods that are genetically closer to the foods where we come from.
From where you come from, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Like like for example, I only get honey that's local to my local area because it's in the environment I'm already in.
Okay.
So would you say that we should eat foods that are closer to what was grown and eaten in Africa versus North America?
No, I wouldn't say so.
Okay.
Because your microbiome, it's not a micro, you have maybe a little bit of microbiome that is really left, that one that came from your ancestors, but your microbiome is now related to where you're living today. And that's what shapes your health. So I don't adhere to eating local, because if you eat local, you eat less food. Okay? Because in the world, in the global, we have diversity of foods that are coming from all over the world. And I wouldn't have eaten blueberries if I were in Africa for sure, but I'm very sure I've eaten other things in Africa that they have no access when I'm here. I eat goji berries from China. I will never maybe have that chance to go to China and stay there and eat goji berries. What I'm trying to say is we don't stay enslaved to the fact that we came from Africa, and so everything good comes from Africa. So you are from African descendant. That doesn't make you African so per se, because you were grown in Africa, you were grown in America, your culture is American, but you have the richness of having that culture that comes from Africa. So when it comes to the food, you eat the food that it's available for you. You can eat food that is you can buy from multiple other places. You can eat from South American, you can eat from Europe, you can have that diversity, right? Because we have evolved. I'll get out of the topic a little bit, because what I'm hearing here, I'm hearing you guys. I'm listening to you, and I'm feeling the pain of having been lost. Like you have been the people. I don't know how many generations are those. Maybe you are the fourth or fifth generations from the slavery.
Third in my family.
Okay. They came, and there is those things that will always be there. Maybe in the future, people have to work on that. But if you today, you pick a plane and you go to wherever you think you came from, I dare you feel also lost. You might think that, well, I am back in Africa, that's where I belong. But Africa evolved. Mm-hmm. You get it? So yeah, I've been here for 26 years or 26 years in France. Okay, I can't go back to Kenya and pretend like I am coming back to where I left. I have evolved myself. Wow. I've evolved mentally. I've evolved culturally. The people I talk to in Africa, they're not thinking the same way I'm thinking, because we are evolving. Acknowledging that, yes, there is this part of us that made it so painful for us because we didn't come here by choice. But I feel, and I'm sorry, people, this is airing, and I'm just using my small brain to say this. If the all Black Americans will stay looking backwards, one day they must go to Africa, and they are not tending what it is now, you'll always feel strange where you are and strange where you go back.
Powerful.
You have to create your life where you are, because you are Americans. You live in America and you let white people consider you don't belong there because you tell them you don't belong there. Because it's not where we are. We are lost, we were pretty. I am talking with an experience of a child who had a trauma from a mother who didn't love her. And you're trying to live that life where you're not loved where you are. But me, I have grown to accept that, okay, my mother didn't love me, but I don't want to stay there. What do I have? What has the life given me so that I can go on with the life? So what can you Black Americans, the third generations, can you do to improve your lives and standards of living and heal your emotional trauma from where you were? Because Africa has evolved and it doesn't have space to hold your trauma, I would say so. We forget also that when we take like the African were taken by Europeans, we forget that the first people who sold these slaves were Africans themselves. So would you go, if you today you are so much in pain because you come from a slave descendant, and you go back home, I don't know which country you came from, and you find that your great grandfather was the one who was selling slaves, how will you feel? How will you feel?
Wow.
I think that for me, it's general knowledge. I expect that, but I've studied it, so
Okay.
I know
everyone,
right.
Not
Yeah.
everyone has that.
Yeah.
Most of you are living as victims of something, but you ignore that maybe some of your descendants who are the ones who gave you to these white people.
Oh, I agree, because I tell people all the time, if we actually got together as a community, we would be very powerful.
Yeah.
Because we were talking about the other day the
Yes.
crabs in a bucket mentality, and we tend to not join for some. I don't know what the disconnect is within our community. I know there's a lot of systematic things that occur that assist in us not being connected, and if we were joined together, we would be very, very powerful. And I think once people realize that, a lot of things will change.
Exactly. Be unstoppable.
But,
It's two after the hour.
let me bring it back to Slash for a second, because he actually wrote a comment. He said, I've read that eating pure unprocessed honey from your region, it helps with overcoming pollen and allergies that's like sinus infections. Listen, I will tell you, there's a huge difference if I have a cold and put the local honey in my tea versus some commercial honey I get at Costco. Huge difference in how quickly I recover.
Yeah, for sure. Because the bees are using that local stuff.
Yeah,
but once again, I say we can't just stay local. If I would say, I think there was time I was talking to Trent, I would say, but then I would never eat bananas or mangoes or pineapples because they don't come from here, right?
Yeah.
So if I stay local, I'll just eat what is here, but I'll miss out. So what we're talking, as in nutrition, we're talking eating diversity, and yes, we eat what is locally, but we don't just include ourselves into the box and say, okay, because I am in France, I'll just eat what is in France. And actually, I'm in France, part of the South, and what is growing in this part doesn't grow in the North.
Right.
And so where I am, there are some things don't grow here, but they grow much south, okay? So if I would just eat local, I don't know which local we are talking about. Am I talking local my place? I'm talking local my state. I'm talking about my country. Am I talking to my continent? You get what I'm talking? Which is local.
So
let's it's diversity. Let's be opening up to the world, because when I came here, there were very few choices of things because the world was closed. There was no modernization. Today, everyone from everywhere is eating things from whichever continent they want to.
Catherine, when you speak on when you came here, for the viewers that's just tuning in, tell them
when I'm talking about France, when I came to France.
Good stuff. Hey, listen, we can't pack all this informative information in 1 hour. We got to do this again. This is very important. Very important. And I really appreciate the knowledge that you brought to the platform this morning, Catherine. Really appreciate that. But
I also learned a lot. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone.
I'm sorry, repeat that.
I said I also learned a lot, and thank you everyone. Thank you to everyone who is here and everyone who is switched on. So it's
That's
a
right.
great place. Yeah.
Good stuff. So you guys can catch Catherine and I twice a month on Thursdays, talking nutrition. Twice a month. So good stuff. Well, we do that 8:30 Central, 3:30 European time, 4:30 East African time. So we do that twice a month. Yeah. Of course, you can catch Coach D and I and Urs here at 7 p.m. on Sunday, every single Sunday. But today we want to accommodate and make sure that people in East Africa and the European territories was able to see Catherine this morning live. So good stuff. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. Coach D, you want to add some closing remarks or what you got going on before we close out?
No, I just want to thank Miss Catherine for helping me win a fight because I had a conversation with a couple of friends, and one only eats local, and one only eats what their ancestors ate. And I'm like, yeah, you all are crazy. You just need to eat everything. But it was a pleasure to have you, Miss Catherine. I look forward
Thank
to
you.
speaking with you again.
I appreciate it.
For me,
And you know what, D?
yeah, go ahead.
You mentioned eating local a couple of podcasts ago. I remember
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I try to eat my vegetables local just because they're in season.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I know where they came from and stuff like that. But there's things that I love to eat that I can't get here.
That's the way to go. That's the way to go. I also eat locally vegetables that are local because they're in season.
Yeah.
But let's not close ourselves into that.
Because I can't get my oxtail does not come. There's no oxtail anywhere near me, and my pho and all that stuff. So I'm a girl. I'm a foodie. I like to eat. So it is. But I may be going out for dental surgery. So depending on how that goes, when it gets booked, I may be off for a week or two. Just because I will look like Mike Tyson, and I don't want to come on screen having people panic because my face is all blown up and I got bruises and everything. So once that's done, once I get closer and I have a date and everything, I'll give you guys a heads up so you know. But other than that, my website I'm working on next week. Xavier's making sales hand over fist on his little straw toppers. So I'm going to add that to my site and we'll all be good to go.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Urs?
No, I just, like I said a little while ago, I enjoyed actually waking up and grabbing some coffee. I'm sorry for being a few minutes behind, but grabbing coffee and just listening to Catherine share with us her experience, of the Africa, and being from Kenya. So I really appreciated this. I think we're so fortunate to be able to cross over these and continue allowing the conversation to take place, but take place from not only what we're learning from where we are, but just being able to learn from other countries and other cultures. So that's similar to ours. So I just really appreciate the conversation. I'm very humbled, that Catherine joined us. She, just said, I'm just gonna ask her. She joined the panel and talk with us. So thank you so much, Ms. Catherine. Thank you. And y'all y'all D and Trent for even continuing to include me. I'm just really humbled, to be here and be in this moment. So
It's actually, honestly,
thank you, Al. Because Al said all of the women is beautiful. Thank you, Al.
I'll be a little transparent here for a moment. The show, the podcast has come full circle for me. Everybody on the panel know that what I've gone through, what I continue to recover from, and to see the conversation go back across the pond is very emotional for me. To see that I have all my friends in one place again after being away from the conversation platform for so many years is very emotional for me. And I appreciate you. I love you. You already know this. Catherine, you know that as well. Ursula, you know that as well. And it means a lot for me for you guys to support me and my shenanigans. When I mentioned to D, I say, hey, listen, I want to do a podcast with Catherine because Catherine mentioned she wanted to do it with you guys. The first thing D said was, just let me know what time, whatever's convenient for her. That meant so much to me. Same with Ursula. That meant so much to me. And I'm just a small pea on a pie here. You guys are really driving this this platform. I'm just here. And I appreciate you and I love you guys.
Thank you for making it happen. You create a space.
I appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
D or Ursula, y'all can close out.
All right, I got to go make some pancakes for little man.
Okay.
But I hope you all have a fabulous week. As always, it's a pleasure sharing my time with all of you. We will see you next Sunday. I don't know what the topic. Are we going to have the weed topic next week?
Yeah, we definitely are. We definitely
Okay.
are. Yeah. Hey, listen, to ask Xavier when you get a chance, when you're making his pancakes or whatever you're doing over there, ask him, is it okay now that, the numbers are going, in 175 different countries and regions? Ask him, is it okay?
He said he needs to go see some money, sir. He's a fin bro. He's all about the dollars and the numbers.
Exactly. I'm always teasing David because he's always talking about when we hit the 10,000 mark. I was sending numbers to D. He was like, but y'all could do a little better. So, kids, huh? That's funny though. Good stuff, man. Really
He's
appreciate
keeping
it.
us honest.
There it is. Absolutely. So until next Sunday, we'll be talking about medical marijuana on the conversation. Also, we'll be Catherine and I. What's the date, Catherine? Because the date escapes me when we do the podcast twice.
Normally it's on Thursday. We did it last Thursday, and so it's every 2 weeks. So we did on Thursday.
Exactly. So we did last Thursday. So we'll be back with the nutrition show, 8:30 Central, 3:30 European time, 4:30 East African time.
So the 29th.
2 weeks.
2 weeks from now. So yeah,
Yeah,
good stuff.
29th. Exactly. Thank you.
Good stuff. You want to close out, Urs, so we can get out?
Oh, yeah, just thanks everybody for joining us this morning. Y'all stay epic. Until next week when we discuss the medical marijuana, y'all all have a great week. Enjoy the rest of your weekend and stay 100. Stay epic.
Good stuff. You guys be positive.
All right. Bye-bye. Bye. Thank y'all. Thanks, D. Trenton. Miss.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Conversations with Trent in conjunction with Taylor Kennedy Media and your radio network would like to thank you for calling in and listening to tonight's episode. We hope that tonight's conversation offended you just enough to turn your mirror inward to come back for more. So until next week's conversation, be epic.